Okay, so what if you could build a system for your life that doesn't just protect you from all the chaos out there, but actually helps you profit from it? That's the huge idea we're diving into today. It's not about trying to predict the future, because let's be honest, that's impossible, but about setting ourselves up to thrive in a world that is, by its very nature, unpredictable. You ever get that feeling that the world just feels chaotic? Like the old rules don't really apply anymore, and these huge out of nowhere events are just the new normal? So, what's going on? Well, it turns out the very nature of randomness itself has changed. To really get what's happening, you gotta understand there are two kinds of randomness. Over on the left, you've got nature's randomness. Think about stuff like human height or rainfall. It follows a nice, predictable bell curve, gentle ups and downs. But on the right, that's human randomness. This is the world we've built, and it's what they call fat-tailed. And what that really means is that these wild, extreme, one in a million events, they aren't just possible, they're actually a built-in feature of the whole system. And we see these fat tails absolutely everywhere. A tiny handful of people hold a massive chunk of the wealth. One video on social media gets a billion views, while millions get like 10. One single startup can become a unicorn, while thousands fail. In a world like this, the idea of average is totally useless. All the action is in the extremes, which makes trying to predict what's next, well, it's a fool's game. And this brings us to a super important idea. These crazy, high-impact events are called Black Swans. Think of a sudden market crash or a global pandemic. Those are the scary, negative black swans. But a tiny startup that just explodes overnight or a book that becomes a global sensation, those are the positive ones. And in our fat-tailed world, these things are happening more often and they're more intense than ever. So, if we can't predict anything, what do we do? Just curl up in a ball and hope for the best? No way. How can we actually design our lives to handle the negative shocks and, even better, to catch the wave of the positive ones? Well, it turns out there's a really elegant strategy designed for exactly this challenge. And here it is. It's called the barbell model. Just picture a barbell at the gym, right? All the weight is on the two extremes, and there's basically nothing in the middle. This model says, let's do that with our life. On one end, you build extreme, rock-solid safety. On the other end, you take a bunch of small, calculated risks that have a huge potential upside. It's a structure that is literally built for a world of extremes. Now, the ultimate goal here, the whole point of the barbell, is to become what's known as antifragile. And this is such a cool idea. It's not just about being resilient or tough, just taking a punch. It's about building a system where shocks and chaos don't just fail to break you. They actually make you stronger. All right, so let's break this down. First up, let's talk about side one of our barbell, building that foundation of extreme safety. The key word here is redundancy. It just means having backups, buffers, safeguards. It's about having a little more than you think you need. More cash in the bank, more time in your schedule, more options. That way, when a negative black swan inevitably hits, you're not totally wiped out. I absolutely love this quote because it just nails the whole idea. In normal, calm times, having a bunch of extra cash just sitting there might look inefficient. But that so-called inefficiency, that's the price you pay for survival. It's the price you pay for opportunity when everything goes haywire. Let's make this real. Imagine the stock market crashes by 40%. If you're 100% invested, all you can do is sit there and watch your money vanish. It's terrifying. But what if you have a big cash reserve on the side? Well, that market crash isn't a crisis for you anymore. It's an opportunity, a massive opportunity. You now have the option to swoop in and buy amazing assets at a huge discount. See, that's the shift from being fragile to being anti-fragile. Okay, so we've got our safety net totally locked down. Now let's talk about the other end of the barbell. And this is the really exciting part, where we get to expose ourselves to those incredible positive black swans. This side is all about tinkering. It is the total opposite of betting the farm on one big idea. Instead, it's about making lots and lots of small, low-cost experiments. And here's the magic. The most you can lose on any one of these little experiments is tiny. It's capped. But the potential gain? It's massive. It's uncapped. It's practically infinite. And the process itself is super simple. First, you just experiment. Start that blog, learn that new coding language, launch that little side project you've been thinking about. The most important part, though, is step 2. You have to cap your downside. You decide right up front, okay, I'm only going to spend 5 hours a week and maybe $100 on this thing. That protects you. And then you just let it go. You're creating little lottery tickets for positive luck to find you. So there we have it, our two big principles: extreme safety on one side, calculated risks on the other. But how do we actually, build this barbell in our own lives? Let's get practical. The cool thing is, this model applies to pretty much every part of your life. With investing, it could look like putting 90% of your money in super safe bonds, and then the other 10% in high risk, high reward stuff like crypto or startups. For your career, you could have that stable 9 to 5 that pays the bills while tinkering with a passion project on the weekends. Even relationships. You build a safety net with 2 or 3 deep, rock-solid friendships while staying open and meeting tons of new people because, hey, any one of them could change your life. At the end of the day, this isn't just a defensive move. It's an offensive strategy. It's a way to turn life into an adventure, to set yourself up to collect those amazing, life-changing, positive black swans like souvenirs. It's about playing the game of life in a way where you can win really big, but you can never, ever lose it all. And that really brings us to the final thought here. The barbell model isn't just some abstract theory. It's a call to action. So with your safety net in place, my question to you is, what is one small experiment, one tiny calculated risk that you can take this week to open yourself up to a world of amazing possibilities?